Well, everybody. We are here. It's Christmas time. There's snow on the ground. Outside, the weather is frightful. There's snow dripping. The fireplace is on. Of course, I'm joking. It's so fucking hot right now in the Southern Hemisphere. And we are very pleased to welcome you to a holiday special episode of the Roll Down, a TFT podcast. How are you, Soul, my co-host? Welcome to the show.
Good, I'm good. Doing all right. Yeah.
It's going to be a laid-back episode, guys. We're drinking. Soul's got soju. I've got a crisp lager. We're just going to be chilling out. Not too much going on. Just relaxing. Oh, it's going to be a good day. We got Christmas wish lists. We've got ideas for the future. We've got tournament recaps. First, and then of course we got Christmas themed questions coming later on. So guys, if you have any Christmas questions, maybe about our favorite Christmas food, our favorite Christmas song, you get those in there and we'll answer them at the end of the show. Even maybe our favorite uncle or auntie. Or, our least favorite one. You never know. You never know. It could be anything. So, we're going to start off. We're going to talk about a personal experience of yours, and that was the TFT Innovator Cup over the weekend. Was it the Innovator Cup? It was the
Innovator Cup. No, it was the Inno Cup. Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Cup.
Oh, I was really worried I was going to get that wrong. Sol participated in the tournament. I did not. So we're really going to leave this one to Sol and get his opinions on how everything went, sort of talk about that. First of all, why don't you fill in everybody on sort of the format of the cup and how everything worked?
Sure. So it's a open qualifier. There are two of them. For set 6. This is the second, and then there's going to be one more for set 6.5. Basically, in an open qualifier, anybody can play, regardless of rank. There are basically no requirements other than just having an internet connection and TFT downloaded on your PC to play. So that means very big field event. So I think a lot of players, I think like 270 people register. It's a 2-day event that always cuts to a top 32. And then day 2 is the top 32, where the top 8 players at the end of play make it to mid-set. And then that's going to feed into like regionals and whatnot later down the line.
Let's not beat around the bush for too long. How'd you do?
Started off strong. I started off strong. I think I went 2-1-5-2 in my first 4 games with 2 games left to go. And then I choked. I choked pretty hard in the 5th game. I basically, long story short, I threw away what should have been a guaranteed top 4. Made some very questionable decisions and ended up with a 7th. Basically put me in a spot in the final game where I needed to either go first or to make day 2. Otherwise, any other result meant that I was out day 2. And that was my tourney, but in terms of results. So, yeah.
Not your first sort of tournament experience, but would you say that it was an overall enjoyable experience before we kind of delve down deep into some of the more stringent aspects of tournament play?
It was like the first like true tournament I played, right? Like I played like a few like for fun tourneys beforehand, but this was like the first like proper like actual tourney that like actually feeds into like competitive, right? So that was really cool. I had a lot of fun. Like obviously like I'm somewhat disappointed with the outcome, but that being said, like it's like pretty big field. You have to like high roll to do like you have to play well and you have to high roll somewhat a little bit, and there's only so much responsibility you can put on your shoulders. Yeah, it was a positive experience overall.
You had some pretty crazy lobbies as well. I mean, you were in lobbies as is tradition in a tournament setting with very, very good players. Does that ever play a factor for you in the sort of decision making of the game?
Honestly, okay, I don't mean to ego, but not really. The lobbies I play in on ladder are usually a lot more difficult because They're usually like 7-8 challenger player lobbies. Especially when you're in like these big open field events where like the seating is basically completely random. Yeah, like you'll get some lobbies where like you have like a couple big names, like 2-3 challenger players, and then like a bunch of GM players. But then like there's usually a couple people who are like a lot more casual, who are like plat, diamond, low masters. Overall, the lobby strength was a lot weaker compared to my latter games. Part of the pressure comes from having to top two your lobbies a lot because of how points work when you have so many people. So that was the part that made it difficult. Knowing that you needed to top two the majority of your games rather than just top four. Like knowing that top four by itself was not good enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So,
Mhm.
let's dive in. You said your first four
Hmm.
games are really good. Let's talk about some of them. What did you play? What was happening?
3 or 4 was good of the first 4, but like yeah. So, game one. Okay, I played game one. I played Urgot. Pretty standard. I just had a Chemtech opener with a 2-star Twitch, 2-star Singed really early. I had early Static Shiv. I mean, I VOD reviewed it over with that dear friend of the podcast, Angora, and made a lot of even in retrospect, even the games I did well, I made mistakes in with like itemization mostly. So like I made Static Shiv instead of like Morello Nomicon on Sandra, which ended up being somewhat annoying, but like it worked out because like I high rolled my opener. So I still managed to get a second in that lobby, which is pretty good. And then game two, like a mega high rolled. I hit Merc plus Metabolic Accelerator, the augment that gives you 2 HP every turn at
Oh
2-1.
God.
And that was the free first. Like I just went like 9 lose streak into like cash out with like 70 HP, and then yeah, and then I high rolled cash out as well. Like I got a Tom Kench and a Jinx. I just played a capped Urgot board, and it was over. And then game three, I I was just contested, and I just couldn't hit units. My lobby strength was really weak. I had like 2 silver players in my lobby. I went 5th with a board that probably should have been an 8th in like a stronger lobby. In a game 4, I'm pretty proud of because I didn't play Urgot, so I played Jin instead with Colossus frontline with like Scion, Blitzcrank, and whatnot, and got a second. That was pretty good. And then it all fell apart.
And then
And
it
then I played game 5.
all fell
And then
apart.
it all fell apart. I mean, there's like such an obvious mistake. So the mistake basically was game 5. I was like really stable with like a metabolic as well. I win streaked all of stage 3. But, like going to stage 4, I was like 80 plus HP with like good econ. And then the problem was that like I just greeted my roll down for too long. Like I just didn't roll until neutrals. Like neutrals at like the end of stage 4. And at that point of the game, I literally could only realistically build a Jin board with the time frame that I had. But I decided to pivot into Kai'Sa, which okay, now that I've had more time to play on the patch, I'm like pretty good. I'm like pretty decent at playing now. But like at the time, I had like 0 experience playing Kai'Sa. I tried to pivot into a comp I'd never played before, and to make things even worse, I had to salvage bin augment. So I just had 20 components sitting on my bench,
Oh
and
God.
and it was just impossible. But the mistake was already made. The mistake was just not rolling earlier. So all those things led to a very fast 7th. And
Yeah.
then we don't even the final game was like whatever. I don't even really know about the final game. So that was my 20. It was good.
Nice.
It was a good experience overall.
It does sound like
Not
a
too bad.
fun experience. You guys can like go back and check out Soul's VOD of that event if you do want to as well, especially the coaching. Going back and
Yeah,
sort of chatting about it with Chaos and Angora, that's really beneficial
yeah.
as well.
If there is a vault to watch, it's probably the one where I VOD reviewed it with Angora and Keith.
How was
That
that
was really, really
experience?
productive.
How was that experience? Like your first like professional VOD review?
Awesome. It was absolutely awesome. Like it felt great. Like it unironically felt like amazing to get completely picked apart and dissected by better players. No, it really did. Because like up until that point, I felt really stuck. I was like, huh, I just can't identify like where I'm like messing up. And then once they like explain it to you, you're just like, oh, this is so obvious. How did I not see this before? Thank you. And then yeah, so it was good. It was very productive.
Love that. It's always nice when you like get destroyed emotionally, but you get built back up at the same time.
I mean, I didn't. Okay, I'll be honest. I didn't really get destroyed emotionally at all. Like, I was for me, it was purely professional the whole time. Like, I mean, I don't
Oh,
know.
good.
I don't really have. I may have an ego when it comes to the game, but that's like more fun than anything. Like, I'm more than like willing to like be wrong and like improve. Right? That's how you get better. Like, so
Of
someone
course.
better says someone better says like you're doing something wrong. Pay attention, listen,
Oh yeah.
and understand like how they like try and think about how try and think about like why you think you should do a specific thing, and then think about why it's wrong, and why they come to a different conclusion, and then
Mm.
and you just learn from that. Great.
It's nice too. I mean, like, you're sort of getting backseated by two of the best players on the
Oh,
server
for sure.
ever,
Yeah.
basically. The two perennial
Sure.
like rank 1 players on this entire server. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
do this next time, do that. Maybe you do this. But what about this? That's so great. That's so cool. It's great to hear.
Yeah.
I think that segues us quite nicely into the meta. You played a lot of Urgot, you said. I want to talk a little
Yeah.
bit about where the meta is right now.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on ladder, and I guess we can start with the tournament. Maybe some of your big takeaways from the tournament on the games you were seeing, comps,
Yeah, sure.
priorities, things like that.
So basically, like, I mean, I thought the narrow. Okay, so going into the 20, I hadn't played as much ladder as I would have liked because I was just busy with real life. So I went into that 20, thinking that the meta was a lot more narrow than it actually was. If that makes sense. Like, I basically went into that 20 only really knowing how to play like Urgot and Jin, like basically how to flex around the two fast 8 AD comps. Like I didn't think Yone was playable at all. I didn't think like the legend. I didn't even know about the existence of like the legendary socialite flex comp, which like I'll get into detail in a bit. Um, but like in terms of like player tendencies, for sure, Urgot was by far the most popular comp, and for good reason. It's just a really really consistent top 4 comp right now in the meta that can also cap out for. I can also cap out into a first or a second via legendaries. It's just like super stable because it gets to play a really really strong opener with like the Chemtech units, and then it's really easy to stabilize. It's hard to get dizzy because all your units are pretty straightforward. And there's like a lot of room to like flex in different units. So there's also a lot of like room to to express like player skill, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And then there's like the other comp that was like pretty popular, somewhat popular, is like Jin, which is pretty popular. I think Jin was in a weird spot until people figured out how to play it properly, which is you play it with Sion instead of like the traditional bodyguard plus Jace frontline. So you play with Sion. You play your frontline is basically Sion, Braum plus Blitzcrank, and basically the Blitz plus the Sion gives you a lot of ways to sort of manipulate. Well, the Blitz basically gives you a lot of ways to manipulate Sion's targeting. For those who don't know, Sion will always ulti the biggest club, so you can use Blitzcrank to balance a specific side that you want Sion to like ulti, if that makes sense. So you can control it that way. And then so Jin with like Sion is like infinitely like Jin with like Sion and tank items is really really good because the Sion just never dies, and then the Jin just kills everything. But the comp that's actually good, like those two comps are probably just like decent. The comp that's actually good and where the meta is actually at right now is flexing around Kai'Sa, Victor, and Akali in that preferred order. The reason why it's successful and so powerful is because those 3 legendary units basically use the exact same 2 items, which is Guardian Angel and Archangel stuff. And then the third item can literally be anything. Like those 3 units do not even care what their third item is. And all you're really doing, yeah, exactly. All you're really doing is hitting those units and then building a board. Like your board can literally be anything. Like this patch is like so fun to play because it is a flex player's dream. Like you hit a 2-star Sion, great. You're playing around like Sion Blitzcrank, and maybe you fit in a Gallia. You didn't hit Sion, okay, cool. What did you hit? You hit like 2-star Braum, okay, cool. We play 2-star Braum, 2-star like not Janna, sorry, 2-star Leona. Get like or you hit like Bruiser instead. You can play like Mundo, Zac, and whatever. And then the heart of the comp is like you're basically playing Taric and Seraphine as 2 socialite units. Basically, be a mana battery with like the second ability of socialite, where it gives you 5 mana per second. Basically, like use that as a mana battery to power like your Kai'Sa, Victor, or Akali, and yeah, they just Like with enough frontline, like those 3 units scale infinitely and will just kill everything. And yeah, that's the comp that's actually good and actually like wins games. Yeah, if you're, it's really hard to play, but it's also really rewarding. And like if you want to win a lot of lobbies on ladder, I highly recommend learning how to play it because it is really fun and it's really good too.
So it's just a level 8 flexible socialite board with legendaries, basically, is what you're saying.
Hmm? Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it. Like you just flex between
whichever
frontline
one
plus.
you hit.
Yeah, it's just frontline plus 2 social plus one of the 3 5 costs I said as your carry, and that's the comp.
Interesting.
And then like you pair like a supplementary unit depending on which 5 costs you play around. Like if you play Kai'Sa, then you probably fit in like Fiora for like Challenger plus Enforcer. If you play like Victor, you just find any random Arcanist. Usually like Malzahar is good. And then if you play a Kali, you just like fit in like Echo for Assassin. Or like you can do like Shaco for like Syndicate with Braum. There's a bunch of ways you can do it.
Cool. Love it. That actually sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah.
To be honest. It's nice to see that the game is opening up a little bit flexibly.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the first 2 patches suffered quite heavily from a relatively linear augment comp item style.
Yep.
I'd say that probably what you're saying is like just build GA Archangels and then pray to fuck that you get one of these 3 legendaries. Maybe needs some looking at.
I mean, that's not even true. Like it can literally be anything. You don't even need GA Arch. Like you can just have anything. Like
just have any items.
You could like, I mean, ideally start frontline item because frontline items are better early. So it's usually something like start like belt into like maybe like an early like Warmog or like an early redemption or like an early ionic spark, or you make like an early spark, or you or you make like Morello is the other one. You make like Morello early and then you streak Morello. And then depending on the item's natural, right? Like it's pretty easy to natural an Archangel and a GA over the course of the game.
Yep.
I mean, the most broken way to play the comp, like I said, the easiest, the most broken way to play the comp is to just high roll GA Archangel Malzahar early, and then you just sit back. You sit back and watch your 1-star Malzahar just kill everything, and then yeah, that also works.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like a lot of Arcanists at the moment, like early Arcanists, like Malzahar.
Oh,
Vex,
that's like
comeback.
That's like the China tech right now. Yeah. That's the China tech right now. There's 2 China techs right now. Variro Alchemist is one of them. But yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm thinking like the power of Arcanists has really sort of come to the fore at the moment, I think. In the meta, which is great. I mean, it's nice. I think they would be sort of perennially underpowered for the first couple of patches. Lux is probably still shit, to be honest.
Lux is the shit. A big part of it is Malzahar. A big part of a big part of it is how broken Malzahar is, and people figuring out that this Malzahar unit is so broken. He is just so fucking good. I think Stocks. Shout out to Mismatch Stocks. He made a video recently that explained why like Malzahar is so fucking strong. It's because like long story short, stain-based comps, so comps that can like have a lot of healing and a lot of shielding. So in this case, Arcanist, are really good mid game because people don't have enough damage to like cut through. That's why Malzahar is so strong. Because you just have a giga stable mid game, and you can usually we like pilot out to a top 4 with ease. Yeah,
very nice. Good. Yeah, I like that. Very cool. Guys, like I said, we're just drinking, we're just chilling out. We're not doing anything too serious. It's not going to be a super long. It's not going to be like a crazy long episode. We're just hanging out basically, but we do want to sort of talk a little bit about the meta before we go on and do some dumb stuff later on about our Christmas lists. So
to me.
We mentioned reroll Arcanists from China. Mm-hmm. Aside from the fact that Malzahar's broken and they sort of rebuffed Vex in a pretty significant way, I think people are finally starting to see the sort of the overall value that Twisted Fate has. Not that it wasn't reasonably understood before, but I think right now TF has such a priority in so many lobbies at the moment. Back when sort of the first patch came out and people were playing a lot of syndicates, I think a lot of people were really loving TF, and then it kind of sort of dropped away for a little bit. Like there was a week everyone was playing Morello TF, and then it sort of fell off a little bit after that because everyone was like hyper rolling for cats.
Yeah, and then nerfed the mana, the starting mana, which was big, but yeah.
So it's nice to see some of these things come back. What else have you been noticing meta-wise the last couple of days at least?
if we want to talk about more like China tech,
Yeah.
six scrap is really really good. It's a little bit tricky because you can't force it because it's a little bit augment dependent. I mean, six scrap was always a well-known secret amongst like high challenger NA players. I remember watching specifically Goobums and Sox's streams, and they play a decent amount of six scrap. It's really really strong if like you hit the right augments, and even if you hit like decent like just average augments, it's like still good. So probably like wondering now like what are the right augments? What are the good augments? So the most obvious one is binary airdrop, the augment that makes it so that if you have 2 items on a unit, you get a third item. It's like pretty broken with scrap because the scrap makes it so that a component slam turns into a full item. So binary airdrop just means that like your team just has a ridiculous amount of item efficiency, and it's pretty much impossible to lose because you have like 20 items and every carry is just fully stacked. Otherwise, like scrap is really good with stuff like buff shielding. Like first aid kit is really good because it buffs the shield by 35%. Any of like the scrap related augments are good. Like junkyard is great, gives you a lot of extra components. What else is there? The spats are good. Like scrap emblem plus scrap heart is really good. And then finally, like the way the comp actually plays and the reason it's strong is because like it's a very strong win streak comp, right? And it just snowballs. You can just snowball the game out of control. Like if you hit like let's say for example like you're at 2-1 and you just like high roll like a scrap emblem or like a scrap heart, you just hit 4 scrap. You just get to like slam all 3 of your components on separate units. You just have 3 completed items at 2-1.
Yeah.
like no one's bored at that point of the game has that much power on it, right? Like you just snowball the game out of control. And then the way you end the game is you can just play around any legendary. Like you can play around like Jinx to end the game. You can play around like Akali, Kai'Sa, like all those or like even Victor. Like all those units are just really good because like you know they have like 1,000 something shield on them. Like how
Yeah.
can they be bad? So it's just infinite time to scale, and then you just win the game. So,
It's
yeah,
actually
just
really
got
beneficial for Jinx as well.
Yeah.
You basically just give her 1 item plus glove, and then you have binary airdrop. So you're basically only committing 3 items and giving Jinx 3 full items.
Full items, right? Yeah, and then she's
So-
just like 1,000 something shield. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great. It's just so good.
Yeah, she dives in and she's just like super safe because of the shield. It just kills everyone. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I will say, having played like a lot of 6 scrap this week, you can force it. You just won't ever win unless you have the perfect augments.
You need the good augments. Yeah, you need the augments to win.
I had a game with like 2 scrap emblems, but no binary airdrop or junkyard.
Oh. Yeah.
So I had 6 scrap at like 3-2, something ridiculous like that, where it was level 6 with 6 scrap units. But I just couldn't close you can't close the game without binary airdrop.
Yeah,
basically.
unless like you're like 20 million win streak, right? But I mean, it's okay though. You just take your free top 4 and move into the next game.
Yeah,
right?
it's still really good. So when Soul sort of says that it's augment dependent, what we're sort of talking about there is like the augments really depend on like your top 4 positioning in a lot of these kind of games. So if you hit the augments that you're supposed to hit, then you're probably playing for 1 and 2 compared to 3 and 4, really.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely 6 scrap every game and still climb. Like that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like the comp is strong enough to 6 scrap every game. But it does also require hitting the units somewhat early. If you don't hit the units very early, I wouldn't recommend you go for it. Like if you're sitting on like 1-star Trundle, 1-star Blitzcrank, 1-star Ezra, 1-star Ziggs, yeah, that's not a very good board. I can't really condone that, but yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about challenges. They're not dead.
No, they're good for sure. They're actually still good for sure. I think they're like, man. Okay, so they're good for sure, and the reason is because Kai'Sa's broken. That's the reason why they're good for sure. Like you try to stabilize through like Yone, but you win through Kai'Sa basically. So like I would say like the comp is purely top 4, like top like 3-4. It's capped at 3rd or 4th if you don't hit a Kai'Sa with like AP items. But the minute you hit a Kai'Sa with AP items, if it is a Kai'Sa 1, you're playing for top 2 with challenges. Because Kai'Sa is just so strong right now. And yeah. And the way you play it is I've seen like okay, I think the best way to play it is still just as a full vertical. The downside of playing a full vertical as like when I say full vertical, like 6 challenger. The downside of playing 6 challenger though is that if you don't have an upgraded Yone, you're actually going 8th. Like 1-star Yone is so weak right now. But if you hit a 2-star Yone and you're 6 chal, like with good items, like you'll probably do decent. The other ways to play it I've seen that work are like you can do like 2 challenges, like just Fiora plus Yone, and then you could play a bunch of frontline plus like utility units. That's like decent. If you hit like spats, you could play like 6 Academy Yone. Like you can't really play the Academy version if you don't hit any spats, because like a lot of the Academy units are pretty bad. I've seen the 4 Challenger 4 Academy version do okay, but it's not great. I wouldn't really recommend that. I think that ideally you pick one of the 2 verticals to invest in, and then it does pretty decent. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I think the other thing as well is like using Oriana is really important at the moment.
Yeah.
Like Oriana Brom, having that
Yeah.
frontline, that tankiness, that sustainability, that CC is like become a bit more valuable again. So adding those units in with like 6 Challenger is really valuable.
Oh, for sure. And one thing is, I don't have enough games to back it up yet, but I'm pretty sure right now you're in a meta where QSS is a lot better than GA on Yone. Mostly because they bug fixed his clone, and they put a lot of power back into Yone as a unit.
Yeah.
I think QSS gets a lot better because it's less the clone doing all the damage, and Yone actually does damage now.
Yeah.
Plus QSS means that like you don't lose to Lissandra Yoga players. Lissandra is like literally your bane because she reduces 80 by like 30%. So yeah.
Yeah, it's also a really nice little attack speed multiplier as well on Yone. Instead of like having to wait for a reset, you actually get a nice bonus of attack speed straight out of the gate, which is really handy. And then of course it's multiplicative with challenges. So you basically as you get the challenger stacks, your attack speed is higher and higher just because of having the item.
But the 20% attack speed is like nothing to scoff at. It's like very solid.
Yeah. Really, are there any like losers in the meta right now? I would say that everything's in a relatively okay place at the moment. I think that they did a pretty big number on.
Cat is pretty bad.
Yeah,
Cat is pretty bad.
Aside from Cat,
Hasidon, I actually think he's still solid. He's not broken like he used to last patch, like before they be patched. I think he's still solid. I think he's in a fine spot. Like the Protector Cog comp is like still very real. It's like still decent. I think Cho'Gath got a lot worse. Cho'Gath got a lot worse, especially now that people are figuring out how to beat Cho'Gath as well. Like you've got players taking in Kog'Maw and Kai'Sa to beat the Cho'Gath boards now. Because Cho'Gath does counter Urgot, right? Because Cho'Gath is an unkillable tank. You just play Kog'Maw for percentage damage, and then you play Kai'Sa to bypass Cho'Gath, and then you win. Yeah, you've got stuff like I think Cho'Gath is like pretty good into like Jhin as an example, because Jhin can't really kill Cho. But overall, Cho's like a lot weaker, I would say. So like Cho as a comp is like not very good. And I think Lux is still terrible. Lux is like still probably not very playable. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else is there. Is like a loser. Clapio doesn't really exist anymore, I guess. It didn't really exist last. I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah, Clapio doesn't really exist anymore.
Galio's still good though.
Yeah, Galio's good. But Clapio doesn't exist. Those are like the most things that come to mind. Everything else is like in a pretty solid state. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's quite good for the meta as things sort of settle at the moment. We'll get a patch in the new year, and we'll see how that goes. I think there will be.
Yeah, that's right. We'll add that Kali is not as good as she used to be, even though but she's still good. Not as good as she used to be, but she's still good. She's just like a lot more dependent on having really strong frontline now. Whereas before, a 1-star Kali with good items would just stabilize you regardless of your board state. But yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts about, I guess, some of the unmentioned 5 costs there? Sort of talking about flexing around 3 really powerful ones. How are we feeling about units like Jace?
Yeah, Jace is interesting. Jace has sort of done a 180 actually from his previous role, right? It's not a surprise. They've literally nerfed his hammer form like 3 or so times at this point. But he did get some he did get some compensation buffs to his cannon form. So now actually we're starting to see Jace used as a support unit more than anything. He's finding success in Jhin comps where he's being used to buff like backline attack speed. You just play like a Jace. Just play like a Jace 1 for like the cannon, like for the gate attack speed.
Yeah.
And then Jace 2 with like damage items actually becomes really, really strong. I was saying Jace transition from more of a frontliner to a backline utility unit. Jinx is a big loser actually of this patch, even though Jinx is still a really good unit. But Jinx solo carry is a little bit more sketched now because of the reduction in attack speed. I guess her resets a lot slower now, and she was already a very fickle champion to begin with because of how unsafe her spell makes her. Yuumi is still good, but Yuumi feels a lot worse compared to previous patches, I would say. Yumi's still good for sure. And I think Galio is really good now, actually. Galio is actually really, really good now. But part of it is because I think pairing Galio with Sion is what makes it good. Just because it's like, as in like, it's not Galio the unit that's good, it's Sion that's really good. And playing Sion means you naturally want to pair him with Galio.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting to see that Sion has sort of found its place sort of smack bang in the middle of like tank heaven.
Yeah.
It's exactly where they wanted it, I think. And for the first time, we're probably seeing a reasonably balanced version of Colossus.
Oh, it's still broken for sure. No,
yeah.
it's still broken for sure. But yeah, compared to...
So when I say that, I mean like the one that's supposed to be bad is kind of the worst performing one at the moment. The one that's supposed to be the CC bot is doing its job, and the 5 cost is impactful. Like it has an impact.
Yeah.
It's still too good, but I think
We're
that
still
they're slowly finding their way towards like reasonable balance.
Agreed. Yeah, we're getting it closely where it needs to be, but I think like what I was gonna say is I think fundamentally the issue with Colossus is that like they can't be CC'd.
Yeah,
they're guaranteed to get off like their like whole board hitting CCs every single fight, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Is the broken part now? But, I guess that's what they wanted out of them.
That's what they
I'm
want.
still down for them to remove it. I'm still down for them to get rid of it during mid set.
You know what they say: don't bring Colossus back in 6.5. That's our motto here on the podcast. That's the most important thing. Don't bring it back. Thanks for all the fish. You know, basically. Guys, we have a Christmas treat for you all. We have a Christmas wish list. Soul may be frozen or gone. I may be gone. Where am I? Any chatters? Oh, it's Soul. Okay. He's back.
Oh.
Hello. He's back.
All right. Technical difficulties. My bad. I decided to potato. I'll stream, but yeah, my internet decided to potato. All right, we're back.
All right, he's back. Well, that didn't take very long. That's pretty good, actually. I was really scared for a second then.
I just need to flick some buttons on and off again, and we're chilling.
Okay. Sick.
All right.
Guys, we have a Christmas treat. Is what I was saying before Soul so rudely interrupted us.
I'm so sorry.
We have a Christmas wish list for you all. We're going to go down our 5-pointed Christmas wish list. Soul sent me his earlier today, and I was like, you know what? It's basically the exact same as mine. So, together, we've both looked in to our hearts and come up with a letter to Santa Mort this Christmas time. Solar, our first Christmas TFT related wish for this year, please.
Yeah. Feels weird to keep complaining about, but Spectator Mode, please. When? It's been 4 sets now, maybe more. No, it's not 4 sets, it's like 3 sets. But it will be 4 sets very soon. Where's Spectator Mode? They keep promising it to us, but like, you never get it. I don't get it.
Give us Spectator Mode. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You know, we don't.
I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, it's like, I've won it so many times. Just like randomly, like get in on like start watching like someone like my friend, like, a friend of mine on my friends list play out of nowhere, you know. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I see like Angora on my list in game. It's like I want to know the tech, you know. I see like Keith in game. It's like, yo, get me in. I wanna see, you know. I want a PUBG. You can't do that right now because this is Spectator Mode. So it's like, bro, it's not that hard.
It would also significantly improve the tournament watching experience having
Spectator Mode. I didn't even rant about that. Yeah, keep going. But
let me discuss something. I really want us to put a tournament on in 2022 as a podcast, as a community, as a group. I think it would be really enjoyable. You know what the hardest part about that is? Thinking about fucking spectator mode. Like not having to spectate the games. Basically having to get 8 people to all stream and simultaneously go through every single person over and over again is ludicrous and unnecessary and so annoying. I can't imagine how it must be for like Wisdom and Giant Slayer and like even the official Riot broadcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy moly.
It feels so surreal that we're up to like set 6.5 really soon now.
Yeah.
And this is still a problem. Like, bro.
You know what you remember what they used to, I don't know how, if anybody else who's listening is this old, but in the inception of League of Legends, before they added a proper spectator client, there used to be a 6th player that would go onto the game, basically, and have the ability to just sit in the League of Legends fountain. And all of a sudden, they would get access to the game. And that's basically how it works. Sol, your camera is gone.
Okay, I don't know what is going on today. It's actually all over the place. Okay, don't worry about it.
But that was like the original inception of League of Legends. Basically, they had one guy sitting in the fountain. So, look, it's my wish list. I'm going to ask for perfection. I want a proper spectator mode. And I want it now. I can hear you, Sol.
Yeah, we good? All right,
yeah. So, I mean, shit, man. Get it together. Get it together, guys,
Great.
basically.
Absolutely agreed.
Next off on our Christmas list.
Yeah. Reworked Double Up. I mean, the Double Up beta has been really promising, if not like for some very glaringly obvious flaws in both the game and out of the game. We can start with out of the game right now. A lot of issues right now with boosting in particular, in that it's really easy to exploit the current ranking system because you can queue with anybody. So let's say like your hyper rank, you can just queue with your friend who's unrated, and you can just farm all the noobs you want for free LP. That's very problematic. And then obviously the game mode itself could use a few adjustments, right? Particular Rune of Allegiance. You know, I'm not blaming the design team or anything. You know, I'm happy that they went with the mechanics that they did, and they were willing to try all these new things, right? But it's pretty clear that Rune of Allegiance is really, really broken, and is leading to really sort of toxic metas right now in Double Up, where everyone just has 3-star full costs, or everyone is like playing yodels with like perfect and just hitting like your fully 3-star yodel board at like the beginning of stage 4, and you're farming Veigar 3, you hit Veigar 3, you win the game. It's like, okay, cool, it's not interesting. So Mort did talk about this on his recent FAQ, which he did, which was really good. It's like 4 hours long. That man's a machine. But he did talk about that that they are currently still in talks on whether they want to revisit or improve Double Up. And I think that like it would be a missed opportunity if they didn't keep working on Double Up, because I think Double Up has a lot of potential, and yeah, I think it's a lot of fun.
As a preview for next week, guys, we're basically going to go through that entire Mort AMA. That's going to be basically most of our episode. We'll have a guest on next week. We'll get them to listen in. We'll get them to sort of talk about it. But it's very long. It has some really great information in it. Some really great plans for the now, the future, the next month, the blah, blah, blah. We're just going to go through it point by point, sort of talk about what we think about that kind of stuff, because Sol's right, Mort's a machine. That man is crazy. 4.5 hours worth of content for us just sitting there. And you know, we'll turn it into a nice little hour-long podcast for you guys.
Yeah.
Next, Wish.
Yeah. Separation from the League client. Our own proper client. So I think the first point I would like to highlight that is a little bit problematic with TFT right now is that we are shackled to the patch release schedule of the regular League of Legends. Basically, the TFT team can only deploy like a proper patch when League of Legends deploys their patches, basically, if that makes sense. And they get one chance to patch it, and that's pretty much it. Like, so if there's something that turns out to be like hotfix level of broken, Yeah, you best believe you're waiting at least a week until the devs can actually fix it, right? That's really annoying right now for sure. Um, and yeah, yeah. Like in a really big game like League of Legends, for example, where like firstly, like if a champ is particularly broken, you could just ban it. Um, the design philosophy of that game is also that everything is broken. So like it doesn't actually matter if something's particularly out of line unless it's like literally game breaking. But like, you know, if we go back to TFT is a game where like all the systems are very sort of interconnected with each other. One thing being very problematic can potentially have massive rippling effects and completely ruin metas. So it's really frustrating right now that like the dev team literally can't like they can identify a problem and they could have come up with a solution for it, but they literally can't even deploy their solution because they have to wait for the riot, you know, for the regular League of Legends patch cycle. But I mean that's the main one. I mean, a few other things is just quality of life, right? Like, the current League of Legends client is not the most stable. It's not the greatest client. It's a little bit out of date. It would be great to separate us from them so we have our own identity as our own game. Like, I know TFT did start off as this sort of fun side game, this party game mode, you know, that you can play while you're waiting for, like, or in addition to League of Legends. But, you know, we're like 3 years in. We have a massive player base, you know? Give us our own client, right? Legends of Runeterra has its own client. Why don't we have our own client? Yeah.
TFT players play TFT to get away from League of Legends. Fuck League of Legends. Fuck League of Legends. We got into this mess because we didn't want to play League anymore. That's the most important thing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work for the people involved in making TFT to stick to this cyclical balanced schedule. It doesn't really work for anybody. I am certainly not happy with the rate in which changes can be deployed. You know, in all honesty, I think that the periodic updating of the game should be pretty consistent, much more consistent than it is right now, at the very least. So get that together. I mean, the amount of amazing things that are in the Chinese TFT mobile client that are like
Yep.
a dream. They're literally a dream for
Sure.
a
Puzzles.
fully functioning
Puzzles.
version of this game. I'm not going to play the puzzle mode like okay. Here's where
the puzzle mode is sweet. Come on.
No, but what I was gonna say is like, here's where the inconsistency comes in. I want the puzzle mode. I'm gonna complain that we don't have the puzzle mode, but I'm gonna play it for 5 minutes and then never play it ever again once we get the access to it in 2 years from now.
I want it to exist.
Yeah, but I also want it to exist.
I want something to do when I'm bored. I don't want to play TFT.
There's my hypocrisy. I'm never gonna play the puzzle mode.
No, I understand.
But I really want it so badly in the game.
Oh, for sure. I think one great example, right, is that like to pedal back a little bit. One great example is like the whole auto attack bug. I was active for like 2 or more weeks. I think it was longer than 2 weeks. Like, it's like part of the problem as to like why they couldn't deploy a patch to fix it is because Riot as a company was on holidays. So like because they're restricted to the League of Legends like patch release, because the League of Legends team is done for the year, they're not touching the game until like, you know, until the holidays are over. Like that means that like the Thanksgiving season, right? Yeah, to be specific.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna touch it until that's over, right? So like Mort and friends can't be like, oh shit, we have to leave the game in a broken state because we literally are not even allowed to deploy a fix for this bug, this game-breaking bug. And yeah, I mean, well said. I think that's mostly it, right?
Yeah, exactly. God, just imagine if the game had Spectator Mode and a fresh client.
Right? I mean, they've promised these things. It's just whether they actually deliver them.
Yeah.
I have my doubts. All right.
Let's carry on.
Move on to the next one. All right. In-client tournaments. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Something very similar. I think something really cool would be like something similar to what League of Legends has with Clash. That could be really, really cool. Just in chill, you know, like you can pay like I don't know, like just well right now we're stuck on the league client, so like I don't know, you pay like Blue Essence or something to buy a ticket, or you could pay for a premium ticket with like RP, and then you just enter like a tournament bracket basically, and you just get to play a tourney and you get to win, um, you get to win what's it called? You get to win prizes. You know, you can win for TFT. You could win like eggs. You could win like I don't know arena skins. Maybe you could win like banners to put on to go like board, no cosmetics and stuff like that. Be really cool. Be a really good sort of nice gateway for people to get into competitive play. You know, I think the current state of the game with how the actual major tournaments are run via like the discords and everything is like totally fine. But I think it would be really cool if there was a in-client way for people to actually experience tournament play to begin with, so that they can actually get excited. You know, experience what tournament play is like, see how fun tournament play actually is, and then they'll go the extra mile to seek it out. You know, how can I play in these open qualifiers? You know, how do I get into these tourneys and whatnot? Because right now it's like there's this gap between people who play tourneys and people who don't play tourneys. Especially like because I especially used to be in the boat of people who constantly hovered in like 300, 400 OP, but like looked at tourneys on the side, but was never really interested because I was like, I have to I have to like get on the Discord, I have to like look up a bunch of forums, like, I'll just keep playing TFT and watch Netflix on the side, you know? But yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Let me tell you right now, Discord for tournaments is a piece of shit. I think it's awful. I think that strategy of signing up for tournaments and participating in tournaments is garbage. I'm not one of those people that thinks Discord's a good app. You know, I don't think that it's intuitive or interesting or helpful or useful.
Yeah.
I find it incredibly tedious and boring, and I don't like using it. I delete it off my phone every like second day because I can't stand looking at the messages that I receive. Like I look down and see a message, and I'm just like, "Fuck it!" I delete the app for 2 weeks, and I mute every single, I mute every single one I'm in, like except for like the chat between you and me.
Okay,
So
I don't know
it's
if I'm
like,
that down on Discord as you are, but yeah, you're obviously entitled to your
so I
opinion.
hate Discord. I'm just putting it out there, but I think
That's
like
hilarious
having
though.
interaction within the client is really important and necessary.
Yeah, we can agree on that.
I really like that idea. I really, really like that idea. What they've done with Clash on League of Legends is one of the only redeeming things about League of
It
Legends,
is.
and they don't do it.
It really is.
They don't do it enough. You know.
Mhm.
Um, they don't. Yeah, they don't do it enough at all. They don't put any emphasis on it. They don't. You know. Basically, what I'm saying is, let's get some. You know, ranked. Ranked is ranked is ranked is ranked. You can only play it for as long as you want to play it, unless you're crazy, and then you'll keep playing it.
Yeah.
And I've certainly
Let's get
been in
some
that point.
in-client. Yeah, you
Yeah.
keep going, sorry.
But like, there's got to be a reason for you to want to go to Switch and play Double Up, or want to go Switch and play a different mode, or want to go and Switch and play a tournament. Those kind of things. I'll use an example from a different game. When the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online game first released, it was basically just like, you would join a queue and then you would play against people, and just go again and again and again and again. And then they added tournaments, and all of a sudden it became this like incredibly intricate and interesting way to play the game. And you would just join up literally whenever you wanted, and you would get thrown in with 7 other people into a bracket. And it sort of totally changed the way that people interacted with a totally like singular system of ranked play. And it makes it interesting. It makes it fun and enjoyable, and I think that's very important. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think that's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'm down for some in-client Friday fiestas. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Shall we go into the last point?
Yeah, last point. My favorite
Oh
point.
man, I feel like we're just on broken records at this point. It's for the officials at Garena to stop being a shitter region and cooperate with Riot so that our folks down in C can actually play the game. Imagine that. Yeah, recently I actually talked to Keith, and he said that he had been in contact with Motog over the recent issues with the double up 20 and Jose and Keith not being able to play. And you know, as it turns out, the culprit at hand is actually the folks down at Garena. If you're being completely uninterested and not wanting to cooperate with Riot to sort it out, and yeah, stuff like that's really really disappointing to hear. And I don't know. I at least say that like on my wish list, I just hope that either the people who are currently hired see the value of bringing competitive TFT to E as a region, the strength of the region in its quality of players, like the passion that the region has for the game. Either that, or just hire a new team. Like
Yeah.
get some people who actually understand the game, who actually are interested, and who are actually willing to work, to figure it out, right? But yeah.
Sorry, I'm just giving Daffler some homework for next week.
You're good. You're good.
What I was gonna say is like we had a pretty incensed discussion about it last week, where we were really interested in the fairness of it all. And to be honest, I'm not really gonna repeat myself. I will just say like it's great that there's some discussion going on about it now, basically. So yeah, that's nice. It's a nice thing. It's good. Let's keep asking and working hard for Dappler, fuck off. It's so annoying. I can't fucking concentrate right now. I'm like, oh my god. Oh, sorry, I'm all thrown up. He's just alright.
Yeah, I'm okay, Angora, trust. But yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I've just ruined my hair. Oh.
Yeah, K3 Soju.
Okay. Anyway, look, guys, after last week, we talked a lot about like representation for Southeast Asia, and it was great to see so many people like going out there and talking about it. I'm very glad that happened. Let's keep talking about it though, because we really want them to be represented in the game. That's basically it. I don't want to say anymore. We talked a lot about it last week, so
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. At this point, it's like I'm starting to think. I'm pretty sure like it's not even just like it's not even really Riot's fault anymore. Like it actually does sound like it's just people in C that are just like the people like operating like Garena, just like just don't really want to like work to figure it out. Because I mean logically that makes sense. Because like NA players know about like the NA staff and NA players like they know about like C. They know about the strength of C as a region, right? Like it doesn't really make any sense like for like Riot to like not want to cooperate. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
yeah. I mean, I totally agree. It's just like it feels so bad. It feels so bad.
It does. It really does.
That's gonna conclude our Christmas wish list, guys. I mean, when you're a kid, you ask for a lot of like things that are unrealistic, and then as you get older, you don't ask for anything because you're just gonna be let down, and you're just gonna get socks, and maybe you'll get like $20.
Wait. Socks are lit though, no? Wait, hold up. Getting socks at Christmas is kind of lit though, no?
Getting socks at Christmas was great between ages 18 to 25. But now I have too many socks.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm 24, I guess. I got 2 more years to go.
You've got 2 more years of enjoyment for socks, and then it just becomes an absolute chore.
It's still pretty good right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I get like 3 pairs of socks and like, fuck, it's lit. I don't have to shop for socks.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Exactly. But eventually you get to the point where your drawer is entirely socks and you can't put anything else in there. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But you sort of go through this cycle. We haven't asked for anything that we don't think is achievable here, really. We've basically asked for 3 things that they've already said that they're gonna do, but they haven't. So yeah,
slow.
Yeah, but they're slow. So we're asking them very nicely to hurry up, and that is my Christmas wish list. That the TFT portion of the League of Legends client hurries the fuck up, basically. Guys, this episode is sort of winding down. The most important thing now is we've got Christmas Q&A. So Christmas questions in the chat. Anybody that wants to know our favorite Christmas movies, our favorite Christmas songs, maybe our favorite Christmas foods, our least favorite Christmas relatives. What about our Christmas plans, what we're up to? Sol, does your family celebrate Christmas?
Not really. Kinda. I mean,
That's
being
why you only get
Chinese,
socks.
I was literally saying this at work today. Being Chinese, like our Christmas is Chinese New Year. Like realistically, like that's the holiday where we actually like go ham. But, like
Yeah.
during Christmas, it's kind of whatever. Like just go out, have a nice meal, just chill. That's about it.
Very nice.
Because my family here is just me, my mom. It's just me, my mom, dad, and my brother, and the rest of my family is all in China. And but we go pretty ham during like Chinese New Year. So, yeah.
I'll ask you this
Like,
question
Christmas,
in like the end of January, February then.
Yeah, exactly.
Sol, how was your Chinese
But
New
during
Year?
Christmas, during Christmas, it's like, okay, cool, I guess. This is Christmas.
Okay, so-
Okay. Up until I was 18, I was 18, though, Christmas was a big deal because I got presents, right? As soon as I stopped getting like real presents, it was like, I'm not really doing anything.
All right. So for anybody that
Yeah.
like for some reason that only listens to the audio version of this and has never seen what we look like, I'm the white one. So I get a really enjoyable Christmas and always have, because I come from a long line of white family.
What's the difference?
A big white family. Well, half Middle Eastern, half white. So we get a very interesting and big Christmas. So if you guys have any Christmas questions, let's belt them out now, and we'll just do a little bit of chatting before we end off. So guys, we want to make an announcement as well for 2022. Sol and I talked about it a little bit, and after next Tuesday, which will be the 28th of December, going into 2022, we will be doing an episode a fortnight instead of weekly. Which means we're going to start talking about the game Fortnite. So Sol's being replaced.
I'm dizzy. This is game 5 of the 20 all over again. I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy as fuck.
I see his. Everybody see his face there.
Dizzy. I have 20 components on my bench. I'm dizzy.
So we might have just confused Sol a little bit too much. But basically, what's happening, guys, is next year we're going to do an episode every 2 weeks instead of weekly. We have loved. I mean, it'll be 11 episodes next week, but these first 10 episodes over 10 weeks have been great, really enjoyable. We want to just give a little bit of extra time for the meta to settle down, for things to change, for things to set up and work in the game and around everything, a chance to book guests and things like that. So
I think with like the weekly episode format, we definitely, I mean, not that I think we've done any like episode I think are bad, but we definitely had an episode where, like, I feel like we were struggling to like find things to talk about, right? Because like the meta was the same, and it's like we talk about, I also think as I mentioned earlier, like it gives us more room to breathe with the guests that we bring on as well. It's not just guest after guest after guest after guest, right? So
and look, honestly, one of the most important things is that we have time to find better guests than people like Jay Darney.
Okay, that's kind of mean. Okay, hold on, that's kind of mean. I don't know why I agree with that.
Look, with 2 weeks, I would have been able to get someone way better, on the show. No, we love you. We love you, James.
Bodhi's words, not my words.
You agree with me. You just thought I was going to say something normal. You're like, yep, agree.
I agreed and I got baited immediately. It was actually too fucking funny.
All right, guys. So, question time. Ask us anything. Let's get some questions in, and then we'll get out of here. A shockingly small episode for us today, but it is Christmas time. Uh, yeah. No, we've loved all of our guests. Every guest we've had on has been great. And guys, stick around because there's going to be a really great stream on after this. I hear Soul's going to be streaming after this actually. So
Oh, crap. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, I guess I'll stream.
you said you'd be streaming.
Yeah, and then it DMs you that it's like hot as fuck and I might flake, but okay, I guess I'll stream.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. We're kind of live on a podcast.
It's okay, I'll stream.
Right
I'll
now.
stream.
I can't check
Now
my
that you
DMs.
announced it, now that you've announced it, I will stream. I will stream. Okay, I'll stream.
Maybe I just. Does anyone else think maybe I accidentally bully Soul into agreeing with me? Because I feel like he just does what I say.
No, I'm actually a yes man though. No. I actually am a yes man though. Like okay. I will instinctively agree with most things, especially when they start off with like I will instinctively agree when the sentence starts off like reasonable. Does it make sense? Like,
Yeah.
if the sentence starts off sounding somewhat reasonable, like, oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, in 2022, we're going to go through a series of couples counseling episodes with Soul and I, where he learns to take more initiative in his own life and not just say yes to me over and over again. And I'm going to go through my anger management issues. I don't have anger management issues anymore.
That's actually so funny.
Oh, guys, we have been drinking a little bit, so if this is a little bit looser than usual, if you're listening on audio, we're sorry about that. But we're just hanging out. You know, this is just a nice, relaxed episode.
Yeah,
I can't believe you messaged me saying you weren't going to stream. Oh, it's funny.
It's fine. It's fine. You know what? It's fine. I will stream. I will actually stream.
Hell yeah.
Even though it's hot as fuck here, I'm actually like gonna collapse. But yes, I will
Down to
stream.
do a group stream where we drink. I love that idea.
I'm actually kind of down. That sounds fun. Wait, isn't that what like the premix stream is for? Yeah, that's just,
yeah.
Down.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, guys. 2022. We will do a drinking stream. Maybe we'll have like a rotating group of guests on the podcast where they all come in and have a drink.
That's good.
Yeah.